Monitoring the impact of climate change on our built heritage. In 2015 to 16, we were asked by the Directorate for Cultural Heritage here in Norway to, in a pre-project, define relevant indicators and suggest a method for monitoring the impact of climate change on our built heritage. Based on this, the Directorate wanted to use consultants to start up the main project, or the first 10 years of the main project, which is planned to last for 50 years. Nike with partners won the competition, and the project started the monitoring of the first buildings in 2017.
The main aim of the project is to map the impact of climate change on a selection of protected Norwegian buildings for several decades. There were some criteria from the Directorate for Cultural Heritage. We're supposed to monitor 35 medieval buildings from different climatic regions and with different indoor climate. And in addition, 10 buildings from Bryggen in Bergen and in Røros, both World Heritage Sites. 10 of the 35 buildings that were selected are medieval stone churches, and the rest are wooden buildings. Stone buildings from the medieval age is rather rare in Norway, so the main part of the buildings are wooden buildings. The monitoring is supposed to last for 50 years, but as mentioned, Nike has the contract for starting up the first 10 years from 2017 until 2026. We're supposed to use as objective methods as possible, and that's why we have been standardizing as much as possible, using 4 reference points, standard reference points at the same geographical positions in all buildings. And in addition, we are using standardized templates with pre-written selections. The reason for that is that the methods and the results should be easy to quantify and to control later during the monitoring period, to go back and have a look at it and really understand what did we note and then use it again. And in addition, maybe some other consultants will come later after us, and they are supposed to understand exactly what we have done. So the project has the focus on slow changes, slow climate-related changes, and not extreme weather events. This means that we are monitoring temperature and relative humidity and damages or decay related to such kind of decay, such as biological decay and salt weathering, for example. And we're not focusing on extreme events like flooding and avalanches and like that. The first year is a reference year, and then all the monitoring results refers to this reference year, which is called a zero status year. It was essential for us that we needed a project group with deep knowledge in certain subjects. We needed deep knowledge in building technology and in building biology and related degradation, architectural and building history, and in conservation of surfaces. So the project group consists of mainly 2 partners, Nike and Myko team. Nike is the project leader, and Myko team is our main partner. We are approximately doing half of the work, each of us. And Nike has the needed knowledge regarding building history and conservation, and Myko team has the building biology competence. Then in addition, we have minor partners who we use when needed, and as a reference group in a yearly seminar. And those are NIBU, University of Uppsala in Sweden, and the Norwegian Institute for Technology, NTNU. They are included regarding research-related questions and further development of the project. In addition, we have a partner in Multiconsult, and they are specialized in building technology. And last but not least, we have 2 craftsmen, a carpenter from the MOV Haugen Museum in Lillehammer and a mason, Terje Berner from Oslo. And the last 2 persons are really very important to understand the buildings and discuss the problems. So we start up each monitoring with a 0 status registration. The 0 status registration includes, first of all, an identification of the building and general information about the building. Then we include climate data outdoor and indoor, starting monitoring it from the first time we are there, the first date in this 0 status registration. And indoor we are using so-called climate boards, as you can see in the picture. A climate board is a board monitoring humidity and temperature, and as you can see, there are small wooden pieces of pine, and they are supposed to be a kind of early warning system, developing some kind of biological growth at a very early stadium, so that we can see if something is happening and some limits are passed and the growth is starting. The third part of the 0 status registration is the history of climate-related degradation of the building. It's a very important part because not all, but many of the degradation processes are the same kind of process that has happened before, but they are increasing and they are to a greater amount, but it's the same kind of degradation. So it's very essential to have a clear picture of the history of climate-related degradation in the building. And then we do a condition survey with standard observation points and additional points for registration of climate and degradation phenomena selected. So the standard points are the same 4 as I mentioned before in all buildings, and the additional points, they are selected because we almost always can see some points that we can either see at starting a degradation, starting that something is happening, or where we can maybe think that this is a threat to the building. So that's why we are selecting some additional points. And we use templates with selection possibilities for registration, and in addition a system of photographies. So to the reporting, we are, as I mentioned, doing this 0 status reporting, and it includes a check after 1 year, and the check is very systematic, and it includes in fact going through the 0 status registrations to check if we have missed something or we should add something. And then we come back after 5 years, and maybe that's one of the most interesting parts of the project, coming back after 5 years and see what's happened or what kind of changes can we observe. We are in 2022 finishing, so next year we are finishing the last 0 status registrations of the 45 buildings and starting up the 5 years registration of the first buildings, which we registered in 2017. In addition, I would like to mention that we have a kind of warning reports, and they are supposed to work as if we are in a building and we can see something's happening very quickly and it's dangerous and it's a really threat for the building. We are sending a warning report to the Directorate of Cultural Heritage so that they can act and start doing something about this, related to this degradation. So the preliminary conclusions. Monitoring of old buildings is very complicated, and there is a need of interdisciplinary approach to really be sure of a good result. Organizing the implementation is important too, and with local involvement it is much easier to receive a good process. Earlier projects, both national and international, have been focusing on simulations and theoretical approaches and risk assessments, and not on real-life observations. So this makes this project interesting and maybe with a touch of international news value. The preliminary results show a clear development towards increase in biological decay in wooden buildings or wooden construction parts, probably related to higher humidity due to climate change. So thank you for your attention.